Are you going to follow your counsel's advice and not answer that question?
I answered the question.
And if that's, Mr. Udo, if you're going to ask questions that are outside the scope of the notice, he's not going to answer those questions. He's not here to answer anything outside the scope.
If you continue to make speaking objections, then we're going to cancel this deposition and
Well,
take it with the court.
Well, if you continue to ask him questions outside the notice, we're going to have to get a protective order. So let's just stay within the notice.
Do you agree that Pacificor, as a reasonable landowner, would be aware of state and federal regulations that governed the steam plant in Centralia during the 1970s and 1980s time period?
I believe that's a policy question, a policy statement, a stance, and I'm not comfortable or authorized to be making policy statements for Pacificor.
You're not going to answer questions as to whether Pacificor, as a reasonable landowner, would have been aware of regulations that governed its property in the 1970s and 1980s time period?
Where is that in the deposition notice? Mr. Udo, where is that in the deposition notice? Just, can you please tell me what
It's
category
in the
it
topics.
comes under?
I'm not here to answer your questions. Just look at the topic.
Well, you're only here to ask questions with regards to what's in the scope of the notice. So if you can't point to me where that falls in this notice, he's not going to answer it.
You can answer.
No, it's outside the scope of the notice. You don't have to answer.
It's topic number 6 and topic number 12. Go ahead and answer.
No, it's not. That goes between 1970 and 1990 and has nothing to do with what you just asked. Employment of contractors to perform maintenance is 7. That has nothing to do with what you just asked. So, there's only 13 categories, which we appreciate, but let's stick within those.
Do you agree that Pacificor, as a reasonable landowner, would be aware of the state and federal regulations pertaining to asbestos that were relevant to the Centralia steam plant in the 1970s and 1980s?
Vague, ambiguous, overbroad, outside the scope of the notice.